The world is gray. By the way, gray is a great color, isn't it? It goes with everything. I mean, I own so many things that are gray, sweatshirts, sweatpants, even socks. They don't look dirty as much, but they also don't look clean. You know why? Because they're gray. That's what we saw last night with Sunday Night Football. That's what we saw with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Is Dak Prescott great? No. Is he terrible? No. Wait, I thought you said he wasn't great. He isn't. First three quarters, Fourth quarter, man, he dropped a couple of dimes to Amari Cooper, didn't he? And then he nearly threw a pick on a slant route to Amari Cooper where he stared him down, and the defender had inside leverage and played it right and deflected it right in the hands of Amari Cooper in overtime. See, look, Dak Prescott is exactly what we've thought he was, which is he's not a great athlete. He's a good athlete. He's not the greatest leader ever, but he's a good leader. He's not a great thrower, but he can throw a football. He's just not crazy accurate, although inaccurate in the NFL is so different than inaccurate in like college football or inaccurate in high school football. Inaccurate means, he throws some scuds out there. Probably 7 out of 10 passes are accurately thrown. Right? Accurately thrown being in the vicinity. 2 or 3 out of 10 are right on the money, right in rhythm. And 2 or 3 are awful, including 1 out of 10 that might be picked. It's a difference in ratio. The best, 9 out of 10 are accurate. And then there's Tebow, who 2 or 3 out of 10 are accurate in terms of NFL caliber accuracy. Right? That was the whole thought with Cam Newton, which is put big wide receivers with him, like a Kelvin Benjamin, for example, because you're not very accurate. You need a big catch radius. You need guys that can catch the fact that he misses a lot. But we want black or white analysis. And Dak Prescott is gray. He just is. We want who won the trade. You know, last night, Amari Cooper had 3 consecutive go-ahead touchdowns, the final one being the winning touchdown. Just a quick aside, NFL overtime rules are the dumbest rules ever created in sports. Right? Why were the rules changed? So that both teams get the football. Unless you score a touchdown and then suddenly the other team doesn't get the football. We changed the rule. Like, I'm okay with sudden death, but this is not sudden death unless it is sudden death. Do you understand the rules now? Good. Let's move on. We want a winner and a loser to the trade. And because John Gruden makes a bunch of money, and because John Gruden parted ways with the only 2 guys outside of Derek Carr you can name on the Oakland Raiders, suddenly you think John Gruden must have lost the trade. But then you research a little bit and you realize that Amari Cooper was up for trade, and the Philadelphia Eagles wanted a wide receiver. They just weren't willing to give up a first-round pick for it. So if asking price was a first-round pick, everyone else offered below asking, with the exception of the Cowboys that paid sticker price for a wide receiver whose sticker price will go up in the offseason. He makes $14 million guaranteed next year. Is it possible that the Cowboys and Raiders made a, wait for it, fair trade? Well, what do you mean fair trade? Well, I mean that the Cowboys needed a number 1 wide receiver, and they got one, and they probably overpaid for him at the time. Remember, this is Amari Cooper, who last season led the NFL in drop rate percentage. He had the highest percentage of drops per throw, per attempts in the entire league. So before you I can't believe they got rid of him, they didn't think he was that fast, and he didn't catch the ball all that much. And he's going to make $14 million next year on a team that sucked anyway. That's really the question. The better question is, why didn't the Eagles think they could fix him? Why didn't any of the other teams that need a wide receiver think we could go and get Amari Cooper and just spend a first-round pick? Why? Because they thought $14 million for a guy who drops the ball a lot. And by the way, that's the second time in 3 years that he's led the league in drop rate percentage. Yeah, he's got a little Ted Ginn to him. When he catches it, he's really good. Here's the problem. He doesn't catch it all that often. And he wasn't as fast as Ted Ginn. Made himself into a very good route runner. But even then, I wouldn't say the Cowboys lost the trade. The Cowboys needed a number 1 wide receiver because they needed Cole Beasley back in the slot. And Cole Beasley in the slot is really good. Cole Beasley out wide, Blake Jarwin out of Oklahoma State had a great game. Why? Because now you got to pay attention to number one. You got Cole Beasley in the slot. You got all these other guys that are running around. Now all of a sudden it makes sense. It fits. They needed one key element to make the whole thing work. They were missing that one key element, and it becomes a house of cards. No, but the Raiders also trade. No, they didn't. Raiders were bad last year. Matter of fact, even when they made the playoffs, they were not that good that year. Oh, wait. You forget, Doug, when they made the playoffs, they had Khalil Mack, and they were good defensively. No, they weren't. They were 32nd in sacks in the entire league collectively when Khalil Mack was the defensive player of the year. They were 26th in points allowed. Dude, they played a last place schedule. They won a bunch of games on going for two and going for it on fourth down. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the Chargers were a disaster. This is when the Broncos were a disaster at quarterback. Those were 4 sure wins. Go ahead, look back and think. And that was also the year that the Kansas City Chiefs decided that they needed to draft another quarterback because Alex Smith wasn't good enough. That's the year the Raiders made the playoffs. So you can tell me that the Raiders lost the trade, but I would tell you that when you get a first-round pick and no one else in the league was willing to offer that first-round pick, you did well. When you part ways with Khalil Mack, how could you? I can't tell you. Booger McFarland makes himself look like a complete idiot, and he's not. Because he gets into the world of Twitter and is like, it's that time when I'm going to tweet, Khalil Mack's awesome, and John Gruden had him and traded him. He did have him. Khalil Mack wanted to make more money than anybody ever made at that position. So wait, we're already bad. You want us to bring you back in an attempt to fix our team, pay you more money, which you might be worth, or say, if you want to give us 2 first-round picks, you can have them. And only one team was willing to offer 2 first-round picks. That was Chicago Bears. When you get above asking price, above everybody else's, you've done well. Now, when the Bears do well because of that trade, it makes it, wait for it, a fair trade. A fair trade. No, Doug. Doug, you don't understand. I watch politics on TV. There's right and there's left. I watch debate on TV. There's Skip and there's Shannon. There's Stephen A. and Kellerman, and then they throw Will Kane out there too, right? Like, hey, we need another white guy with a beard. We need a conservative guy. Let's throw him out there. There we go. White guy with a beard. Got another one. You're either right or you're left. You're either bearded or unbearded. White or black. There's no in the middle. There's no mixed race. That ain't the way the world works, buddy. It just isn't. If anything, it speaks to the system working. Where are you as a team? What do you need? Same thing with the Bears. Bears had a good defense, but you add in a guy that commands a double team who just has to get after the quarterback, fits in with your scheme and your style and your system, and suddenly look at all the other guys who are having great years. Now, they're going to be held back by their inability to spend on the quarterback position, so they're stuck with Mitchell Trubisky, and they better hope that he improves in the decision-making and the overthrows that he has and say, hey, look, Mitch didn't play. He only played 1 year in college. He'll get better with reps. We'll see. But there is a chance, just a chance, that both sides won because it's a trade. And maybe the Raiders end up screwing up the draft picks. That doesn't make the trade not a fair trade. Doesn't. Reggie McKenzie's out of a job today. And, people went, well, Gruden's going to screw it up. He's screwed up the draft picks before. Look, this is just one of those deals where anytime there's a new coach or a new GM, they're always going to want to bring in their guy. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. That's the way it'll work in my business. That's the way it'll work in your business. By the way, Scott Shapiro's my boss. He came here from ESPN. Who else came here from ESPN? Right? No, not just me. It's not just Cowherd. But if you listen to the late night show, there's a guy there that used to work late night at ESPN. Or Chris Broussard's here now. Or Rob Parker's here now. What do? You follow your guys. Why? Because I know him. I can trust him. He can trust me. So if he gives me feedback, I know it's not coming from a place of bias other than he obviously believed in me to bring me over here. It's the way it works everywhere in television, anywhere in business. You get a job, you hire your guys, or you want to go work for one of your guys. Relationships. So I'm not Yet was Reggie McKenzie, was the team good? Like no one thought. When were the Raiders good? They had one good year. One. Since John Gruden was there. One. All right? You take the rest, the other 17 years, and they were awful. And so if you want to attack John Gruden, go, well, he made $100 million. Yeah, he had a great job. And the only way he's going to leave that job is if you give him a better job with longer tenure. Well, I could stay at Monday Night Football for 10 years. Okay, then we'll give you a 10-year deal. Well, I make, $7-8 million a year. All right, we'll give you $100 million. Okay, I'm listening. The world is not what you see on TV, what you hear in radio, where we pick a side and we argue back and forth, and we will not come off of that stance. The world is gray. Dak's not a great quarterback, and he's not a bum. Yes, yesterday he slid into from bum to great after 3 quarters. John Gruden is not a terrible general manager or leader of a franchise. He hasn't shown the previous ability to always make great draft picks. He's been a better coach, but now he's going to have an opportunity to remake the franchise for a long term, and we'll see if he figures it out.